Okay, so in 2.3, I have just included some other types of graphs. So we will go through these very quickly. So you could use a bar graph to display your data set. So I have given everything in detail here, so you can go through and try to you know understand. So this all just I have given, and you can read this. And the pie graph, the next important graph is a pie graph. So pie graph is nothing but we display our data distribution on the circle, right? So we will take the sectors as our the categorical variable. Categorical variables means my variable has the characteristic values. So for example, look at this problem. So how do you display this frequency chart into a pie chart? So basically, if you know the frequencies for each categorical variable, then you could find how much angle in degrees it makes for each variable. Then after that, you could draw the pie chart. So we have in detail here. So how do you find the corresponding degree for the given particular categorical variable? So we use this formula. If you want to find the degrees for the corresponding frequency, take the corresponding frequency value over n. N is nothing but the total number of the variable or the total number of frequency, right? You simply just add all the frequency and find the total, which is n. In this problem, my n is 30. So after finding this n, you just simply use this formula to find, the degrees for each variable. For example, if you want to find the angle on the pie chart for the first variable potato chips, so the potato chips makes 11.2 frequency value. So that's what we have 11.2 here over my f is now 11.2 over the total number of frequencies 30 times 360 degrees. So this will give you how much angle occupied for the first variable, that is 134 degrees. So in similar way, you could find all the variables. How many variables are there? One, two, three, four, five. There are five variables, so you will find five sectors in your pie chart. So each angle will be, like that, and they have approximated to the nearest whole number, and make sure that the total number of the degrees actually should be 360, right? In order to make a full circle. So that is there. So if you want, you could find, the corresponding things in percentage also. If you want to change into percentage, instead of multiplying 360 degree, you just multiply by 100 to take the percentage. Okay. So after that, take your protractor and measure the angle and draw the pie chart. So you will get like this. Okay. So if you measure this angle, that should be the angle occupied by the first variable for a shape. So that is 134 degrees. So if you measure this angle, it should be 134 degrees, and so on. But the next important graph is stem and leaf plots. Okay, so how to draw a stem and leaf? Suppose if you are given a raw data, so how to draw stem and leaf plots? First, you need to arrange the given data values in increasing order. So I have arranged all the data values, but this part, the arranging data is not mandatory. So, but in order to make the things easy, you could arrange in order. After that, you separate the numbers according to the first digit. So separate the data according to the first digit. So, the first number is starting with 0 digit. So I'm writing that number as one group. And starting with 1 digit, that is 13 and 14, I am grouping as the second one, and so on. Okay. After that, look at your the groups, and the smallest one is 0, 1. You just look at only the first digit, 0, 1, 2, 3, and so on, and write those things in order here. These all coming from the first digit of your number data value. After that, draw a vertical line. After that, you write down the second digit for each number. For number 2, my second digit is 2. My first digit is already here 0. The second digit is now 2. Now take the second number 13. My first digit is 1. That is here. The second digit is right down here. So basically, these are all going to be the second digit for all the numbers, right? So if you're arranging this way, you see now this kind of display is called the stem and leaf. Okay, it's very easy. Okay, so I have included a couple of exercise problems. So this is all about to draw a bar graph and pie graph, and why don't you try these things? And this should be very easy, I believe. So if you have any questions, please let me know. Okay, then I will explain some of these problems. Okay, then. Okay. 2.4. Here we are going to look at the relationship between two variables if you are given. So first of all, let's look at the definition of scatter plot. Scatter plot is a graph, right? So we will find here the scatter plot by plotting the x and y values. So my x and y values are the two variables. So this is the variable one we could call. This is my second variable, say variable number 2. So if you look at this example, let's read the problem first. A researcher is interested in determining if there is a relationship between the number of wet bike accidents and the number of wet bike fatalities, right? So there are two things. He is checking whether is there any relationship between these two things. Okay. To find out the relation between these two things, first, if we have a picture, then we will, see clearly what's happening, right, between those two things. So my first task is to, identify what kind of, the relationship these two has. So first, I'm going to draw a scatter plot. So how do you draw the scatter plot? Like earlier we did. So you have to enter these two variables, into x and y. So my x values are here the number of accident, and y values are my number of fatalities, right? So for example, if you check the first column, this one, so this is nothing but two data values are given. So if you plot these two values into x and y, so you will get a point that is, my x is 376 and my y is 5. So if you look at my x values here, this is my x values, right? So 376 will be somewhere here, right? So then my corresponding y is 5. So my value y is 5 will be somewhere here. So this is basically my first point. My second point is x value is 650. So my y value is 20. That is this point. And this is my third point, and so on. If you plot all the points, you will get the plot graph. This is called the scatter plot. Okay. So you could use the calculator if you want to draw the scatter plot. Enter all the x variable into L1 column and enter all the y variables into L2 column. Then you will draw the scatter plot. Let me show that. So I'm going to start edit. number 1. So let me clear first these all previous values we used. Okay, so I'm going to enter all my L1, that is my X values. So the first value is the 376. My second one is 650, 884, 1162, 1513, 1650, 2236, 3002, 4028, and 4010. So these are my X values, right? So now enter all the Y values into L2 columns. My Y values are 5, 20, again 20, 28, 26, 34, 35, 56, 68, and 55. Okay, so now remember you need to set the window now. To set the window, go there, and my X minimum value is 376. Therefore, I'm making this as 300. And my X max is 4010. So let me make that as say 4100. Since my X has a large value, I'm making my X scale to say 100. And my Y value is the minimum value, you see 5, so I'm making that to a 0. And the maximum is how much? You see that 68 is maximum, so let me make a maximum to say 100. Okay, so I'm keeping my Y scale is say 10. So that's it. So come out of this window. So now you need to set your plot. Go to the second with Y, stat plot, and choose number 1. Now I'm going to draw a scatter plot, that is the choice number 1. Select number 1. Okay, now remember I have two columns, L1 and L2. Okay, my X list is in L1, but my Y list should be L2, to make sure that you are changing that to L2. Okay, that's it. Come out of this window. So let us try to graph this. Yes, this is my scatter plot. So remember how many points are there, how many, the plotting points are there. So look at your table. I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 values. Make sure that you have all the 10, the plotting points here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. If you do not see all 10 points, that means you are missing some point out of zoom. So you have to zoom out, right? Then make sure that you are bringing everything under your window display. So it makes sense. So this is my scatter plot. So if you look at your values with the graph already have given here, all kind of similar, right? Look at the points here and there. Good. So this is the way to draw a scatter plot. So once you have scatter plot, now by looking at the graph, we are able to explain about the relationship between two variables. Okay, but we are interested here in terms of a linear relationship. So let's look at these all four scenarios. So a positive linear relationship, what does it mean by that? A positive linear relationship exists when the points fall approximately is an ascending straight line. So if you see all the points are, look at the picture 1, you see all the points are scattered, in increasing trend, right? That means so roughly I could, see the trend of all the points. Those points are in increasing mode, right? But you could, contain all the points in, one line. So So these all the points are accumulated, towards this straight line. Therefore, we call this kind of, the distribution as the positive linear relationship. Okay. If you look at the second picture, yes, of course, all the points are very close to the straight line, but in terms of the downwards trend, which is called the negative linear relationship. So you could think of these two like, if you have the straight line, if you have a positive gradient, that means it seems, it is in upwards trend. If you have negative gradient, which is going to be a downwards, the trend. So by looking at, those two, you could easily identify what kind of a relationship these two has in terms of linear. Okay, now look at the third picture. All the points are very close to some kind of curve, but not a straight line, right? But still there are some relationship between all the points. So these kind of things are relationship has, yes, but non-linear. So that is why this is a non-linear relationship. But if you look at the last picture, all the points are scattered, so it is very hard for us to find, any kind of relationship. Therefore, this is called the no relationship. Right? All the points are kind of, scattered. So this is very easy for us to conclude, what kind of distribution the given data set has once you have a scatter plot. That's what scatter plot is very, very useful, right? So these all very easy things, and you could practice, just entering data into your calculator and make sure that you are getting, the scatter plot. So remember to draw a scatter plot, keep in mind, so you need to enter your all the x values into L1 column, all the y values into L2 column, and again you have to set the window according to your x and y values, right? Then go to step plot and choose number 1, that is my scatter plot, right? After that you just hit the graph button to draw the picture. Okay. Okay, so these all, some exercises I have included, and why don't you try these all? These are very, very simple exercises. Okay, so I believe this should be easy for you guys to practice, and let me know if you have any questions. Okay.